All right, so now assume that you already have everything set up. Okay, let's actually create a brand new sample app. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. So you want to open your Android Studio and then create a new Flutter project and just default application and make sure you choose the SDK path. And then this will be, I'll call it recipes. And in the same folder, everything looks good, and click on next and finish. Just leave as default. All right, so this is what I mean by sample app. Okay, in the other video, I had a more detailed walkthrough on this code. I'm not going to do that again, but make sure you can run the app. So make sure you need to have the emulator here ready. Again, everything should be already being set up for you. So without looking at any code, you can click on the button here to start to build the app. The first time is going to take longer, and after that will be a lot faster. Okay, so this is actually the sample app. If you actually open the folder, it's inside this library folder here called main.dart. That's the only file provided from sample app. So we're going to use this app as our starting point. Okay, let's actually run this one. And then if you remember, I actually mentioned there are 4 different sections in this code. There are import, there is the min fencer, that's the entrance of app. There is this my app class, which has some of this material app configuration. Now I told you these are very high level configuration, talking about the title of the app, the whole theme, and primarily the theme color for the app. And also what is the very first screen you want to open? We call the home screen. And the home screen had a title. And then down here, you got this home screen. And yeah, so every screen has 2 classes, and one is something called a page, and then the other one there is something called a page state. So they always come together. All right, and then here is the sample app. Okay, that's how it works. All right. So what I want to do now is, again, I want to try to get all the clean code here. Very simple, very easy to understand, so that we can actually move on from there. Okay, so it's this sample app, and a couple of things here. You can change the color. This one I already showed in the video, but this is the whole scene color. Every time you change it, you refresh, and then you can update it. Okay. Another thing I probably didn't mention is that, let me change back the color. This little here, the top banner is called a debug, right? So this is nice to show, as you can see you're debugging it, but sometimes we forgot to remove it at the very end. That way you will probably need to do that. If you don't do that, and the Google or Apple, they will not publish your app. They will see that your app is for debugging purposes, right? To remove that, very easy. So go to this here, material app, and then add a new attribute called I think it's a debug show check mode banner. This one here. Just use auto completion. I'm going to turn that into false. And then if we run this again, and we probably need to rerun this one. Okay, so because this code was not triggered by the hollow, so you have to rerun the app. So now you can see the bar is gone. So I would recommend you just remove that as early as you can, so that it will not affect your publishing at their end. Okay, so anyway, this part here is good. I'm going to just clear the code so that we got a short code that will be easy to check. So, and then you got a home page here. That's all already provided, okay, by the code. And right now it just shows this title here. It shows this increment counter function. So we already went through this one. Okay, I'm not going to talk too much about this one. However, I do want to get a very clean code. I don't want to use all of these ones, okay, so that we can add other things. I want to clear all these comments here. Okay, so that we got very minimum thing here. All right, so I'll just leave one text and this one. Let's actually not do the full button for now. Okay, so we probably we need that. Yeah, let's not do that. I'll make it very simple. Refresh. Okay. And then here are some more things going on. Let's just get rid of all this code here. All right. And yes, so set state is coming from the library, from your parent class right here. Okay. So anyway, so this is a simplified version of a sample app. All right. So I think we're going to use this one as a starting point to show how do we do other things. So maybe what I was thinking is that to turn this app into a little like a main screen that you can go to different kind of pages and show different features. Okay. So coming back to my, item here. Okay, so I want to show how do we do a new screen. Okay, so I think in the video I also show you this one. So for any of the new screen, you should actually try to create a new file to save it. Okay, now a better way is you can even create a folder. Okay, I'm going to create a folder. Let's call it package, right? Let's just do a package. Yeah, and then I'm going to call this one as, we can call it screens. All right, and then inside screen, you can create all the different ones, right? So for example, the very first one, I'm going to show you some of the UI basic. I'm going to create a .dart file here. I will call it sample demo text page. All right, that's a very standard way to name the files in Dart. Okay, so anyway, this one I want to create a page to show the very simple UI element, which is the text. All right, so to start and create a new page, there's a shortcut you can take. Okay, as I told you before, in general, you can just copy and paste this code together and then put it into the new screen. That one works. So let me just show that anyway. So you go here, and I'm going to copy these two classes. Okay, this is the Flutter recipe code. Okay, every screen you can actually do the same thing. Very convenient because it doesn't change too much. Okay, so you do this one. Now a lot of it red because you are missing one dependency. Okay, if you want to add it, the easiest way is go here and try to select this import. You can choose different styles, but I would recommend we go with material design first. That way, everything will be consistent and you can still change the style later on. All right, so that way you can see all the red is gone. Okay, but don't forget to rename all these pages. Otherwise, it will be very, very confusing. To rename the name, you can always use the refactor tool. Okay, right click here and then refactor and then rename. And then you will do, for example, demo text page. Okay, do that like that, and then go click on refactor. As you can see, it rename all this name here, here as well as here. So very convenient. You never need to actually do this hosting yourself. All right, so that's it. And then for this screen, I'm gonna do something here. You have pushed this button this many times. I'll change it into a demo page for text. All right, so that's how you can get a new screen. All right, but of course, right now you run the app, there's nothing to do with the new screen because it's still actually in the main screen right here. So that's when we need to add something to trigger and to navigate to the next screen. So what I'm going to do probably just add some buttons. We'll talk a little bit more about the buttons later on. But here, I think some of the simple ones will be elevate the button and then auto completion. This is going to be a function code. And then this will be a text. That will be the name of the button. So I will call it text. We'll call it UI demo, something like this. All right, and then I would like to always keep the code in this kind of format, so that it's easier to follow later on. Okay, so elevate the button and then go press. Okay, so let's actually refresh the page, and then you got a new button here. Now, when I click on the button, nothing happened because we have not filled in anything right here. So that brings me to the next topic, which is how do we do the screen navigation, right? So that part of the code, very simple, one line of code, but it's not easy to memorize. Okay, so what I will do, go Google, Flutter, navigate to a new page. All right, so you normally will find out one of this tutorial. Let's actually try to find any one of those. Yeah, this is actually a good one. So this is a very good tutorial that shows you this whole process. As you can see, they call it the first row. It's not a very good name, but it's basically one screen. As you can see, there is one button, and you click, you want to go to the next button, next screen. And here's the next screen. They call it second row, but it's basically a screen. Okay, I don't know why they call it row. And they said that you can navigate using this method called navigator.push. Okay, so you call navigator.push and you provide a contact, you provide a material route page route, and then builder, all of this. So that's why I see, even though it's one call, but the functions, the parameters you provide inside, takes a little bit more stuff. So that's why I normally just copy the code from here. This is a color coded recipe. Okay, I'm going to copy this code and then put it back to my Android Studio here. That's it. But when you copy it like this, and this one should be changed because it is not a second row. So in our case, if I want to go to this page called demo text page, I will need to change it. So demo text page, as you can see, automatically recognize one. You definitely want to use the code completion. That way it will know how to import that code. Otherwise, you have to manually import it again. Okay. So this one takes a constructor, the title, right? So you need to provide a title, which is demo, we'll call it UI demo text. Same thing. All right, so that's how you can navigate across different screens, right? So I'm gonna refresh. And this time I click on a button and it will bring me to the next screen. I go back, you can come back, click on the button again and go back. All right, so this is called a navigator, and that's how you can actually go to the next screen. So I'm going to write down this kind of code as a recipe. So whenever you want to go to navigation, and then you can actually just simply copy and paste. That's it. Okay. All right. So that's something very simple I'm going through here related with creating a new screen and screen navigation. However, I also want to show you a different way of creating a new screen. Sometimes you feel that this code too much. For example, I don't need the title. I can just create my own text here. Or there's a lot of stuff. I don't always need a bar. I don't need this alignment, everything. I just want a minimum version of the screen. Okay, so we can try that. Same way, I'm gonna go to the screens folder. Okay, I will right click and I'm gonna create a new file. For my new screen, I'll still call it demo underscore. At this time, I'm going to show the button page. Right. And here you go. Back to your question, you do not need to do that. That's actually handled automatically by Flutter. The reason is that they actually use something called a push right here. When you push it, it's just like a stack. You actually push the screen to the stack so that it automatically tracks to enable you to go back. If you don't want that feature, I think you can call something else. I'm not 100% sure, but it's something like a push replacement, push and rename. There are different ways to do it. Okay, but in general, the push probably is the one you want. So let's you don't have to do anything. So you just click on a button. There's the back button. You go back. That's it. So it's automatically implemented by the push. All right. So go to this screen. I'm going to show you a new way to create a screen. I don't remember if I have that in the other video. It's called stful. So that means we are going to create a new stful widget. So later on, you will learn there are two different kind of widget. One is stful, one is stateless. For beginners, you always go with stful because it's more powerful. Okay, you don't need to worry about stateless. Okay, let's just always do stful. When you have a stful, that means that there are always two classes coming together. So I'm going to choose this one and then hit enter. You can see it automatically give me this whole class structure, and then you can put the class name. I'm going to call it demo button page. It's the same coding style. If you hit enter, as you can see, it automatically get this name here, 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 and here. So you don't need to do anything. So very consistent. So that's also why I'm telling you that Flutter is a framework. So you don't need to ask why we need to do this to class like this. Well, the answer is that the framework requires us to follow that style to do it. Okay, now same thing, this is red because you're not importing the actual library, which is the material library. Okay, then you're good. So this is another way you create a class, a screen. Compare this one with that one, you can see it doesn't have something's title, it doesn't have this default Scarfold, things like that, but it works the same way. So let's try that. So I'm gonna go back to the main, and again, I'm gonna do one more button. Okay, so it's gonna be the same kind of piece of code. This is gonna be another like recipe code. Okay, how you actually create a elevated button. So, but I'm gonna type it one more time because this one is actually relatively easy. So you just do elevated button. Okay, parentheses. For some reason, it's not really showing up, but that's okay. One is called unpressed, give an empty function, and the other one is called child, give a text. So this one I'll call it UI demo buttons. All right, and for that navigator code again, we just need to copy the recipe code right here. Navigator will push, put it here. And then this time it's not going to be the demo text page, it's going to be the demo button page. Okay. However, this one, it doesn't have the constructor as I showed you. So you need to delete this one here. Okay. There is also this thing here. It's brought by the code base automatically. A constant means it's a constant, right? So you can't really change the value. So you just said that the instructor constructor being called is not a constant constructor. So I normally just get rid of this thing here. Okay, you don't need to keep those one. Sometimes when you program, the constant is a very good coding practice. You actually see this one more common in the industry. Developers use a lot of constant to declare variables. The reason they do that is because they want to make sure that if this is constant, then you're not really supposed to change it. In our case, I don't think that's a very important practice for now. It's less important compared with other like clean code best practices. I wouldn't pay too much attention to the constant. So in other words, if you can just get rid of this one. That shouldn't cause too much issues, and it just make the code cleaner. Otherwise, you always need to figure out why I need this one, and you know, some error like this one happening. Okay, so that gave you the demo button page. So I'm going to refresh. Let's try it. I'm going to click on the button here. All right, so this one doesn't bring it. The problem is that you are adding a new file right here, and then you're trying to hot load this one. It won't work because the file has not been loaded to the memory. So let's actually rerun this app. All right, so let's see if that actually solved the problem, and then click on the button. Okay. Well, in that case, I think it's actually not the case because looks like this one was triggered, but because this screen just has nothing there, that's why I think it's not really showing. Okay, so let's give it a try. So container, right? So I'm gonna give a child, very simple. I'm gonna put a little text here. As simple as the widget, you know, demo page for buttons. Okay, refresh the page. We'll try it again. Okay, so I'm gonna click on this one, go back. So I'm gonna click on this button. All right, so some reason actually just showed here, directly on top of the screen. The reason is that we are only just returning a container. Okay, we're not providing anything like a Scarfold, you know, the body and everything. Okay, so that's why I think with this we probably just need to do a lot more configuration for ourselves. So with that, I think it will be always easy to start with a Scarfold. Okay, but we'll talk about Scarfold later. But to summarize right here, I just want to show you there are two ways we can create the screens. One, you know, you create a file, you just copy this standard code here. Okay, or you know what you're doing, you just do very simple minimum like scattering code here. But it looks like this part here is too simple. Okay, so the best way is still to put the Scarfold here anyway. So you got this body app title for you to use right away. I also try to highlight the recipe code will be the navigator. This one you will use that all the time. Okay, but most of the time you're going to do the push. Sometimes you also need to do the push place replacement and some other kind of pushes. When you are doing the push, there will be other recipe I will show you in the future that sometimes you have to wait for the result to come back. And yeah, those also you will need some kind of special treatment in the code. All right, and what's the difference between the container and Scarfold? Yeah, so we're going to show you each later on. Okay, so we'll talk about the Scarfold first. All right, so any other questions so far at this point about the creating screens, navigations, things like that? All right. So next one, let's talk about Scarfold. Okay, so if you go Google Flutter Scarfold, you will find out the documentation right here. Okay, so Scarfold is a class. Okay, you know, reading the documentation is a lot, but the good thing is that they have really good demos. So anytime you find they have the visual pictures and the code, and then this kind of live editor, that's always the best documentation because you can then borrow the code, you can easily understand what's going on here. So Scarfold, the name is really weird. I don't even know what this means in English. Okay, I need to look at the dictionary, but that's why sometimes they got this very weird name for the concept. But all it means is just this kind of a UI layout. That's it. Okay, this is coming from the Google's material design, and they have a bunch of guidance on how Google want to design the app and then different kind of styles they're following. So this one here is called a Scarfold. So it's basically like a screen layout they already put there. So they said that for Scarfold, you can have an app bar at the very top, something like this. And you can have the navigation back button. You can have some kind of floating button, or you can have the main thing in the whole body here. Okay. However, they can do a lot of more things. If you actually go down, I think you can find all the attributes they provided. So if you go down here, yeah, so these are the things you can have. You can have an app bar. That's all the things you've seen. You have a bottom app bar. You can have a floating action button. You can have a drawer, right? Drawer is another kind of very typical. Let me see if there are any examples. Yeah, so drawer example. Yeah, that is a drawer. So that's also part of the Scarfold. If you ever want to build that one, you can actually use this one to do that very easily. Bottom navigation bar, very important. And it's basically the one that show you this little bottom navigation thing here. Let me see if we can write. Yeah, this one here. This is called a bottom navigation bar. It's also part of the Scarfold support. If you want to use those, you can definitely do that. Okay. And the bottom sheet, I don't know what that is. Actually, take a look at that one. So they don't have example, but yeah, the bottom sheet is probably you to show some kind of information at the bottom part of the screen, give you some kind of a confirmation, and then shows up and disappears, something like that. That's my understanding. Anyway, so these are the things you can do with a Scarfold, but the most important thing are the app title. That's the one they show here. App bar, they call it app bar, and then another one is body. Body you probably have to do it, otherwise you can't see anything. And then you can also do the floating action button that's optional. And then besides those, you can specify the background color and a lot of other things. So in other words, Scarfold is basically a foundation UI template you can use to build your screen, which is also the one we recommend to go. All right, so that's why, you know, if you look at this example here, when we are not using Scarfold like here, it just doesn't, it looks like the screen is so like plain and nothing there, don't even have a background, and it's whole transparency. I'm sure you can configure the container and everything to make it work, but obviously that's not worth the time. We should actually go with Scarfold. Okay, so how do we do a Scarfold? Let's actually just try to use the code editor here. I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to just type Scarfold. Okay, whenever you see the name pop up, always use the auto completion because there are always too many attributes to add. Okay, so the minimum one to have should be the body. Okay, here in the body, and then a body should have just one child. And then in this case, you could have a text, for example, and I'm going to show same thing, demo UI, and for buttons, or UI button, UI demo. All right, let's see if this is going to make any difference. Okay, I'm going to try to refresh my code. I'm going to click on this button to show the demo of button. All right, as you can see now, this one looks a lot better, right? So even though it's actually right here, guys, if you see the text, it's actually at the top here being hidden. So I can, try to make the text a little bit bigger, and then you'll be able to see that a lot better. Or, I can do another thing. I can do a center the child, and I'm going to move this one here. That way it's going to put the text in the middle so I can see it. Okay. So this would be a very, very simple Scarfold. Okay, so I guess, this code here probably represents a very simplified version of the new screen, what the new screen should look like. Okay, in the future, you can always copy this one. If you don't want to use the title for the constructor, make everything simple, this will be a very good thing to adapt with. Speaking of Scarfold, another thing you can do is the app bar. Okay, just type app bar. And then if you don't know what to do, I think you just right click, control space. They should give you the suggestions, right? But if not, I think you can pretty much look at the reference. I'm going to put the code here, but it's going to be an app bar like this. Okay. And then there's app bar class. And then here you can also see there are so many things you can do on the app bar. Okay, let's actually take a look at documentation briefly. So if you go, let's search for app bar, see any kind of documentation, you go here. Okay, as you can see, app bar, you can actually do a lot of stuff. Okay, you can do the leading, you have a title here, you have a bunch of actions, little icons to click, you have a flexible space. But most of the time, we're just only doing the title. As you can see here, this app bar, there is a title, which is a text. That's why you see this app bar demo. But you can also give a bunch of actions. And then you can have this icon button. That's why you have things like this or that. So a lot of things you can do with app bar. But here, I'm just going to show you this minimum, which is the title. Title is simply a text. This is a UI demo for buttons. Okay, we'll try to refresh the page. All right, so now you've got this app bar back, and it has this navigation button go back, and that's the title, and here at the bottom. So now the two screen looks almost the same. So this one is for text. This one is for button. But then the second screen actually showed you how you actually build everything from scratch. All right, with the Scarfold and adding the app and body. Okay, so in other words, Scarfold. Okay, that's probably the recommended way to go. Yes, so the return button here is built in. Okay, you call this navigator.push, they automatically have it. All right. So to summarize, maybe I'll do one more time on the creating new screen and the navigation. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more page for the edit text. Okay, demo edit text page. All right. So this is what I will do: stful, and then this will be demo edit text page. Type the page name, hit enter, then get rid of the red by importing the library material. And then here, we need to use a simple Scarfold. And maybe put app bar anyway, because it looks like this guy is useful. At least gave you this kind of a back navigation bar button. So this one, put the title, demo UI edit text. Okay, and then you definitely need a body. And to make it simple, I will put a center. And center has one child, and then just to a text here. Demo UI edit text. Okay, so that code completes how you can actually make a new screen. All right, so and then you want to call the screen, I'll go back here. All right, so I will just copy and paste the button. This time I'll do an edit text. And then here I'm going to change it, demo edit text page. That concludes adding a new screen. Okay, refresh. One more button, click on this one. It go to the third button and go back from here, go back and from here. Okay, so very straightforward. So if you understand the code structure, everything will become really straightforward. As you can see, they all repeat the same kind of code structure. Okay, so that's what you need to learn from Flutter. You're not trying to learn a Dart language. Okay, the language itself is nothing to learn. It's just basically some just syntax you just need to know. But a lot of this you can't figure out. There's no way you can automatically write your own algorithm to the navigator push. No, you just need to figure out how the framework works and then follow their API and calls and test out all the features they have and then run it on your own device. And then later on, based on what you want to build, you figure out how you can use Flutter to make it happen. So that's basically how the whole mobile development works, as well as a lot of other topics you will do in the industry in the near future. It's more about, understanding what's going on and see what you need and then see how you can fill that gap. And it's all about practice. Okay, so that's all for these topics. Create a new screen. I told you 2 different approaches. We talked about navigation. We talked about Scarfold. Okay, 3 more things I'll go through today. Okay, text, button, and edit text. So I already showed you all of this. Okay, let's actually go here, and then we're gonna start from the text. Text is the simplest thing to do. Again, I'm gonna get rid of this constant. Okay, I don't really like it. The really simple version is this. Okay, just give a parenthesis and give a name. That's it for the text. All right, and then in many cases, let's actually try to rerun this one, and I go to the text. That's what you see here. All right, but in many cases, you might need to change the font size, font type, font color. So these are the common things you will need to do. All of this one you can easily Google and find it. Okay, so but most of those they start from something called a style. So let's see, change the text font size. Okay, so you still put the text here. Okay, and then refresh the page, and then you see it here, but you will need to add something called style. Okay, and then it's gonna be text style. All right, text style is another class, so you need to provide some parameters. And then from here you can see these are all the things you can give: color, background color, font size, weight, style, spacing, a lot of things you can do. Okay. So I'm going to go here. I'll put something called size, font size. Okay, I'm going to try something bigger, 18. Refresh. That's called 18. And if you go to 28, and that is a lot bigger. Okay, so that's how you can change the font size. And if you want to change font color, that's also very typical. Style and text style. Let's just search for color and colors. I think there's a built-in class. This is very convenient compared with Android. We do red, refresh. Okay, so that's how you can do a color. Obviously, you can put all this style together. You don't have to do this separately. Okay, so I'm just showing you different examples. And then let's actually try one more with what else for the style. There are background color as well, I think. Maybe we'll show it here. Okay, so their background color, yellow, refresh. Okay, that's how it works. So there are 2 different kind of colors. And then you also can do the weight, I think. If you don't know what to do, like control space, it's actually show you all the things you can do. Font style, font type, and decoration color. A lot of those, I don't know what they are. Font family, we can also try that one. And so Also, one more thing I was trying to show you, like how do you do like a bold or italic. So are those like the font style? Okay, let me try this. Okay, I can't remember this one. Okay, font style. Okay, so italic and normal, and do we have anything else? All right, something like this. Let's try this. Okay, all right. So that gave you italic, and how about bold? I think it's something like weight, font weight. Yeah, font weight, and what to do? Control space. If you try to, yeah, this as you can see, I can't remember all of this, but I'm just trying to type. It automatically actually gave you the rising. So there is a font weight stuff. So you can do and then refresh, and then this one give you a bold. All right. And then lastly, the font type family. So that's the one I don't think I have tried yet, but I know it's very easy. So change the, oh, actually I need to change this one. Okay, I will change font style and weight. And then last one will be the font type family. All right, so this one here, let's see, it's a font family. And I assume it's gonna have something like this, right? No. So if you don't know what to do, well, we're gonna have to Google it. Okay, Flutter text font family. All right, so it should be pretty easy to find it. So yeah, so you do need to import the files, and that's something that you have to prepare first. Okay, let's see how we can get those files, and then once you have those, the rest will be easy. Okay, so one way is you can specify here for the whole app to use, or you just go here, text style and font family, and just give them a name. Okay, so let's see how we can download it. Okay, let's go to Google Font. Let's download some of the file, the font. Awesome. So let's actually see. Yeah, we'll do just something like we'll just do this one. Okay, roll this. Okay, let's click on this one, and let's just download it. Yeah, Google has all these free ones. All right. Okay, very cool. So look at they got us 3. We're gonna do the regular one, okay? And then what you need to do is copy this file. Okay, I'm gonna copy this one. I'll go back to the Android Studio because this is external assets files. Okay, so that's why you will need to. The best way to do that is to build an asset folder. Okay, so I'm gonna right click on the project folder, new folder directory. I'll call it assets. There could be different kind of assets, images, other text files, and then in this case, it's a font. So I'm going to create another folder. I'll call it font. And then I'll copy and paste. I think it will be better to make it lowercase. I think that's a regular way to do it. Okay, so that's a new font here. Once you copy the file, you always need to import those or specify those in this YAML file. So everything has been specified in the documentation somewhere. Let's actually see. I think they told us what to do. You can see under the footer, there's a font, and then you can specify the family. These ones, yeah, so that's actually a lot more common. I think this is the name you gave. That's actually the assets. Okay, so it looks like you do need to provide all of them. Okay, yeah, maybe they're right. So let's actually just to be safe. Actually, no, they only gave the bold and light. I just want to show you the minimum one to do. I don't want to overwhelm the things. Okay, so here they provided 2, and this one give us style. Okay, let's ignore it. Okay, I'm gonna just try with a simple one. Okay, just one family. So go to Flutter. They actually have, as you can see, they have here. Okay, so to add a custom font, you just need to have a family key. Let's try it. And then our case is called, what is the name of the font we did? Let me open it. Okay, it's called, oops. And then here we need to actually provide the font file. So this one will be under our assets / fonts. And then it will be the row this regular. Okay, let's just try that. I think that should be enough. Okay, so if you have those, and then you should be able to reference that name. Let's try that. Okay, so the name is this, and go back to the text here, font family, and that one is going to provide what the family is name. Yeah, direct just the name. Very simple. All right. Now for this one, since we added to the YAML file, you actually need to update the file, and then you probably need to stop the app and reload it, because otherwise the file won't be in the app. So let's run this one more time. Okay, so I'm going to click on text. Yeah, looks like it works. Okay, so that's what you need to do to the text. How you change the font type. So not very difficult. All these lines is talking about this whole constant thing. And yeah, you can just add it. It looks like this is something new from the Dart they try to avoid, but I wouldn't worry too much. I want you to see the minimum code that actually works. Okay, so that's how the text works. All right. So the next one, all right, is the button. Okay, I don't want to show too much about button. It's you just need to know the most important ones. It's mostly the elevated button. All right, so go back here, and then the button. Right now, nothing there. I already showed you how the button works, but then just one more time, go back here, and then you can show a different button. So if you want to looking for the official ones, just try to go find the Flutter buttons and button themes. So there are a lot of options for the buttons. Okay, this is how they change it. Okay, they right now they have the elevated button, they have a text button, they have outline button. I think these are the ones you normally use. Okay, and another place to look for this is there they have this UI. Yeah, so they have a widget catalog. So this is actually very useful. But sometimes it's very difficult to find depending on what you're looking for. So we normally start from material component because that's kind of a style we'll be using. From here, you can see app bar, navigation drawer, how to do this, and then they also even have some kind of buttons and input. There's so many of those. So this one should be enough. For buttons, you can see they have elevated button, that's the typical one. Floating action button, we've seen that before. There's the pop-up menu button, outline button, looks like more of iOS style, an icon button, and a text button. Yeah, this is also the iPhone style. Okay, so as I mentioned, the elevated button is the most commonly used one. And then let's just open this one here. Run the code. Yeah, so they showed you one is enabled, one is not, and then that's how the code works. So you can see the elevated button, and you got a style, and then click and child, right? So it's pretty much the same thing as I showed you earlier. So I'm not going to copy the code, but I will just tell you the code here. So elevated button, parentheses, only two things. One is called child. That's basically what your button should show. And then you need to have a text here. So I'm going to put a button sample. All right. And looks like you do need to provide the other one, right? So yeah, unpressed is required. So you need to do unpressed. And now just leave it open, empty. So this one need a function. And you can just put this kind of inline function here. And then bring my app back, refresh, and you will see this is the button. Right now I click on that and nothing happens. And you can then write some function that print, okay, the button. Okay, refresh this again. Now when you click on the button, you can see the little message being shown up here. Okay, so that's how the action works. For button, that's the main thing you want to know. Okay, so if you want to, let me see if I can show you a little bit more buttons. Let me just wrap this one with a column. We'll talk more about those one in the future, but this one will allow us to do more. I'm not talking too much about the style of the button. Okay, you guys, if you want to change the style of the button, you should be able to do it. And just Google it. Okay, some of the parameters. I don't want to show too much about those. Just do one more button maybe. Maybe I saw this thing called a text button or online button. Yeah, so this one is more of iOS style. Okay, this one is very simple. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's a text button. There's a style on press child. Same thing. Let's actually try it. So I'm going to do a text button. Yeah. And then this is exactly the same thing. Button example. This one is anyway, we'll just do this for now. And here, another button. So depending on what you like, okay, so this is more of a Android style, this is more iOS style. So, but then the printing here is the same. Okay, it both works. That's for the buttons. Very simple code, okay. But then for the unpress here, you can also do another function. All right, you can do, create another function here. Print lucky number. Right? Just print some kind of number. Random start. Okay, so you got to import the mass. And then, okay. Okay, so almost same as Java. All right, so generate a lucky number here. And then if you want to call that, and I will just use one more button to do it. Three, call function. So in that case, you don't have to do this. You can obviously just call a function, print lucky number. That works, right? Or you don't have to do that one. You just put this thing together. Give a function name. Yeah, that also works. So refresh the page. Go back here. I click on this button. It's going to give me some random numbers as I click on that. All right, so that's all about buttons. Okay, button is important. Just know the bare basic. Okay. And then very last one I want to show you today is the input box. So type the username, password, all of those. Okay. So let's actually go back to that screen and the text. And right now it's just showing this one. Okay. So this one you also can go back to check out the catalog. There is one thing you normally use, input. All right, so the one we're looking for is this one, text field. Yeah, it's not edit text, sorry, it's called text field. EditText is the name for Android. So a lot of things you can do, but I really like this very basic example here. Very clean, simple. Let's just copy it over. Okay, I'm going to copy this one and put it back here. That's it. And I want this constant. All right, so this one allows you to do the password. So refresh the page. You got this nice input box here. Give it a hint, and then you can start to type it, and you don't even see it. All right. The reason you don't see it is because there is the obscure text true, but if you change it to be false, you can see it, right? And then they also have this decoration with this outline input border. So that's also very nice to have. Okay. So let's actually try to add more. So I'm gonna do this one, with a column. So we can put more. So I'm gonna put another text field. All right, so this one will be false. And then this one will be username. And then refresh. Okay, as you can see there, I got two of them here. Okay, but yeah, let's actually still do a center so that it looks nice. Oh, it's already here in the center. Okay, so we'll need this kind of a main axis alignment. Okay. Okay, yeah, anyway, we'll talk more about this alignment in the future, but today we just want to focus on the widget. All right, so that's how you can type something. You can see this is being hidden. All right, pretty straightforward. Now, the only other thing you need to know about the text field is that if you know this widget, but you have to know how to operate on this. The main thing we need is that at one point I need to know what you type here inside. I need to grab that string so that I can compare that with my database or send to the server or do something like login or authentication, right? So in order to do that, okay, I need to add a couple of new objects called a controller. So this text field need a controller. So the way to do it is go up here, okay. Let's define something called, it's called editing text controller. Text editing controller, this one here. Okay, it's a class. So you need to define an object called the username controller. And then this will be the same type text editing controller. That's it. In the same way, you will do a password controller. That's it. Just simply create two controller. All you need to do is add this two into the text field. So you almost need this one for every text field because you always need a controller. Otherwise, you can't do it. So this one is for username controller. This one is for username controller. All right. So that's it. And now you can actually use this one to grab the value. So I'll show you an example. So I'm going to put another button. So we'll do another elevated button here. I'll be a text. So we'll click on print input. Okay, so let me actually still fix the rows. Okay, so what I want to do is whenever I click on this button, I want to print whatever I type here. Okay, right now nothing happens. But here I can print. If I want to grab the username, I will see the username controller dot text. Very easy. Okay, the other one I can do password controller dot text. That's how you can grab the value. So I refresh, and I'm going to click on print. As you can see, whatever I type, it will actually be able to find it. Okay, so that's how it works. And then you can also use this one to change the text. So for example, I'm going to create another button. Change input. Okay, when you click on that, you can say that, okay, username controller dot text just simply equals to, here is an example of, all right, so I'm going to refresh. So this button, if I click on that, as you can see, it will automatically change this one into this. So that's what the controller is used for. Okay, very simple and straightforward. So any of those I'm showing you today, you should be able to just Google and find it in one of the Flutter pages. But sometimes I find that it's not very easy to really have a consistent way to find the references. And the one I'm showing you today, as you can see, I can type very quick just because I've done that multiple times again and again. Like this login screen, pretty much you always need to do this. Okay, so what I'm trying to show you now is these things. I think they're really the highly frequently used stuff in any computer apps. If you master this one very well, you can probably build things very quickly. So what I'm going to do after the class, I'm going to get this code, the sample code, back to the GitHub, and then you guys can actually use that as a recipe, just simply copy and paste. Okay, because there's really nothing to memorize or understand. That's how text field works. Okay, you just need to get a controller, get a declaration over this. That's it. All right, so hopefully that helps. But this one does not replace the regular video I gave you, because those I gave a little bit more detail, kind of you know, maybe hopefully a better flow. Okay, or maybe that one is too slow. You guys just need this faster ones. Okay, so that's what I want to share today. Okay, let me actually stop recording first.